जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारे। जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव राधा माधव जय राधा माधव। जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिष्य माता भय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन विवृकॉन आचार्य डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिष्य माता भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री राधा कृष्ण को गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रज में वृंदावन धाम की पुरुषोत्तम के श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की गंगा माई जमुना माई की श्रीमती भक्ति देवी की श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंद ऑल ग्लोरी टू द असेंबली गॉडेस ऑल ग्लोरी टू द असेंबली गॉडेस ऑल ग्लोरी टू द असेंबली गॉडेस all glories all glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshushanmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanitansya Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Rishatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Papanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishye Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Nilachala Nivasaya Nittaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadravyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangulanghaite Giring Jat Kripa Tamaham Mande Sri Gurudinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone for this evening program, special evening. for the English calendar year. It's the last day of the English calendar year 2018. It's popularly known as New Year Eve. And tomorrow is the beginning of the new calendar year 2019. So it's a very interesting time where 2 years is connected, and people all over the world, they celebrate this as welcoming New Year. And for devotees, it is also very, very important how we can relate to it and apply in our life. So, people like new things. That's why New Year is very popular. Confirmed by the sound vibrations. I request all the assembled Vaishnava devotees, you can kindly put the mobile phone into silent mode or flight mode, whatever mode, so that it does not ring and make sound. So new thing is very interesting. That's why when a new child is born, we celebrate, because it's new in our family. So once I was discussing the problems of life, birth, death, old age and disease. One devotee was a little bit surprised by hearing that. He said, Prabhuji, death, old age, disease, we can understand his problem. How come birth is a problem? He was very serious about it. I was thinking how to explain. He said that such a nice thing, new baby is born, how come it's a problem? So then I tried to explain that the mother who gives birth to the child, she has to carry that child in the womb for months. Conceiving the child and carrying the child is not so pleasant experience for the mother. And it is also not the pleasant experience for the child also. According to scriptures, according to medical science, the child, while it is in the womb, its head, it's not up, it's down, and leg is up. And it's very tight situation therein. So it's so painful. They explained by our spiritual teachers that out of pain, those children in the womb, they pray to the Lord, my dear Lord, please take me out from this miserable condition, and I guarantee you that I will serve you. So in the womb, the child suffers, and the mother who carries the child in the womb also goes through some difficult experience. And when child is born, when it is a normal way of taking birth, it's very, very painful both for the mother and for the child. And according to the medical science, normal birth means child has to cry. If the child is not crying, it means something not normal. So mother is crying because of the pain of delivery, and child is also crying out of pain, and others are celebrating happy birthday. That is the nature of this world. Very interesting world. Newly born child. Because it's new, people feel happy. Then new gadgets. Nowadays is the age of gadgets. Every alternative year or every year or every month or every few months, newer and newer version of mobile phones, laptops are coming up, right? And it's very interesting. These software companies and those who are making these computers and mobiles, they are very expert and they know how to market it, and they put some new features. And why we buy? Because it has new feature. Nowadays, mobile phone has become all-in-one, right? Everything is there in the phone. The phone is meant to call people, right? Connectivity. But now phone have all the facilities. And people are mad for that. Why? Because it's new. Something is new is very interesting. Then same food again and again, same prasad, people don't like. Some new. Those who are great cooks, they always try to find some new recipe. Whether new recipe is good or bad, because it's new, people like it. Oh, it's new. And it's a challenge for the mother or the lady who cooks at home. It's a challenge to give varieties, right? And those who eat, their expectation is very high. But the challenge is with the cook who is cooking. And it's very difficult to give variety every day. And we also face difficulty when we have different festivals, and every day new and newer menus, very difficult to find out. But spiritual world, why it is so interesting? Because Krishna, I used to think why Krishna is so much attached to experience the food cooked by Srimati Radharani. Then I got the news that Radharani cooks every day, but she has been cooking since time immemorial. And not a single menu has been repeated. I don't know how she does it. I have a desire to ask her when I'll meet her, if I can meet sometime. But it's very inconceivable. That's why definitely Krishna will be attracted to that. So that is new. So if something new, menu is added, so it's very pleasing and interesting. Then after food, we are discussing about home. If newly built home or new temple, just like new temple is coming up, people are eagerly waiting when this new temple will come up. New house, then people feel, oh, something new is coming up. That's why you feel happy. Then new partner in our life, new member in our family. That is also very interesting. But that's interesting thing we are discussing yesterday does not continue long, but still, when it is newly married couple, they feel very happy because the relationship is new. Why in the early days marriage was so interesting? And after marriage also experience was very good, because neither the boy nor the girl knew each other. That's why the relationship was new at marriage. Nowadays marriage is nothing new. Everything happens before marriage. So marriage is nothing interesting, and that's why relationship does not last long, because there is no new thing. But I used to think that in this age, staying with a partner for a life is very difficult. In America, it's a big challenge to have steady married life. And it is said if a couple can continue with the same partner for 3 years, it's a great achievement. It's a news. But in India, generally marriage means for life. So whether 3 years or whole life or 10 years or 20 years, a long-term relationship does not remain so interesting. Why? Because there is nothing new. But in the relationship of Radha and Krishna, I used to have the same question. They are not for years. They are together since time immemorial. But Krishna is not thinking, oh, same Radharani. Radharani is also not thinking same Krishna. Why is that? Because they get every day newer and newer experiences. How? Because their beauty is unlimited. What is the meaning of that? When Krishna sees Radharani, so Radharani's beauty increases. And when Radharani sees Krishna, Krishna's beauty increases. So their beauty is increasing since time immemorial. But in this world, this is not the case. Time kills the beauty. Rather, by the process of time, our beauty diminishes. That's why people don't like old age. Why at old age? Our beauty is gone. And those who are very attached to beauty, they cannot take this problem of old age and they go into depression mode. That how come I was so beautiful, now I am old, how I can maintain that beauty? And it's very, very difficult for them to accept that reality of life. So there is a lady. So that lady was also very beautiful. But by the process of time, she became very sick because she was very old and had a lot of diseases and she was hospitalized. So doctor said, no chance of survival, I cannot help you. Only Lord can help you. So that lady intensely prayed to the Lord. So my dear Lord, please help me in this critical situation of my life. So out of causeless mercy, the Lord appeared in front of that lady and asked that lady, what do you want? So lady replied that I don't want to die now. Please prolong my life at least for a few years. So Lord said, so it be. So Lord disappeared. The lady was so happy. So she informed the doctor, my dear doctor, Lord appeared and she guaranteed that I can live for some more years to come. So I should be released from the hospital. Doctor said, okay, no problem. You are released. But that lady, in order to maintain her beauty, she used to use lot of cosmetics to keep her beauty as it is. But she was in the hospital, cosmetics was not allowed. So then when she was planning to go out, she again used the cosmetics and she again became very beautiful and left the hospital. And on the way back to her house, she was crossing the road and one car came and hit that lady and lady was dead on the spot. And lady was very upset. When she came in front of the Lord, said, my dear Lord, what kind of Lord are you? Just now you gave me the benediction that I can live for a few more years, but immediately after I left the hospital, I am dead on the street. How come? So Lord said, please forgive me. He said, why? He said, the form I saw in the hospital, and the form I saw on the road, I could not recognize you. So what can I do? We may try to escape the influence of time, but time will not leave us, because time is very powerful. And Krishna says, I am the time. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the time. So in the spiritual world, there is no influence of time. Why is that? Because the time is engaged in the service of the Lord. So how we can become immortal? How we can become eternal? When we engage the eternal time in the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we become eternal. Because in the spiritual world, every moment is engaged in the service of the Lord. That's why the influence of time is not there. So how that same spirituality can be experienced in this material world, in our material body, that can be done when we engage each and every moment of our life in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But why we are being influenced by the time factor? Because we are not engaging each and every moment of our life in the service of the Lord. So time has three aspects: past, present and future. Right? So one lady, again, sorry. So one old lady, she was a teacher and she was teaching tense. And she was asking the student that, please tell the tense. And she wrote a sentence, I am beautiful. So what tense is this? Then one student got up, said, Madam, this is past tense. So by the process of time, beauty also become an history. So three aspects of time: past, present and future. But in this material world, there is no significant presence of the present. The present is a fraction of a moment which transforms the future into past. That is the reality of the material existence. But in the spiritual world, there is no past and there is no future. It's ever present. That's why there is no influence of time, because time is engaged in the service of the Lord. Krishna is the time there. So, new. In this world we like new things, but by the process of time, things become old. Right? Our body becomes old by the process of time. Dehinasmin jatha dehe kaumarang jovanang jara tatha dehantara prapti dhirastatra namiyati. Our car becomes old, right? By the process of time, the brand new car becomes old car. Then our garments, our clothes become old. Our mobile phones become old. Our computer becomes old. Our beauty is also taken away by the process of time. Our wealth is taken away. The greatest emperor, the greatest ruler of the whole world also becomes history by the process of time. So time takes away everything. Time is so powerful. So we have to recognize that. And at this moment of 31st December and 1st January, it's a special reminder for all of us how to utilize the time and how we can be free from the influence of time. So today I was thinking how we can take care or how we can be free from the influence of time. And I came up with the acronym again. So time means T-I-M-E. So T means taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. I internalize the consciousness. M, meditate on the Supreme Lord. E, engage in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or engage in hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Engage in hearing. So, can you remember? T, take shelter of the Supreme Lord. I, internalize the consciousness. M, meditate on the Supreme Lord. E, engage in hearing about the Supreme Lord. So these are the four aspects we will discuss today, and hopefully if we can apply this principle in our life, we can be free from the influence of time, and we can achieve the eternal abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be engaged in the eternal service, loving service of the eternal, beautiful Lord, Sri Krishna in Vrindavan Dham. So, T, taking shelter. This is very, very important. Shelter is the natural propensity of living entity. Because by nature we are dependent. Only one independent personality in the whole creation, that is the Supreme Lord. Because He is the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam prabhuttate iti matta bhajante mang buddha bhava samanita. Why is independent? Because He is the source of everything. Everything comes from Him. He is the cause of all causes. He is the origin of everything. That's why He is independent. Everything has cause, but He has no cause. Everything has some source, but He has no source. Ishchara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Radhir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Everything has a cause. But Lord Krishna, Govinda, He is beyond any cause. That's why He is independent. And people become confused. And when you give lecture about God, said, who has created God? That is a common question. Because we don't have any idea that how it is eternal. There was no time that Lord was not there. That is very, very inconceivable for all of us. Even for the devotees also. Because in this world, everything is relative. It begins and it ends. It is created, destroyed. It is born and it is dead. So it's relative. So why we die? Because we took birth. Jatasoi dubam mittur dubam janma mitassacha. Someone who is born is bound to die. So why Lord does not die? Because He never took birth. So how He can die? That's why He is known as Aja. Aja means who never takes birth. So you may say, oh, Krishna takes birth. He took birth from Devaki. He took birth from Mother Jasoda. So how come he is unborn, Aja? Why is Aja? Because he never takes birth in the spiritual world. But he takes birth in this material world. Because he follows the protocol of this material world. It is very good example. He follows the rules and regulations of this world, because in this world everybody has to take birth, and he also takes birth, but he does not take birth. He appears because he comes to this world out of his sweet will. That's why it is known as appearance. Appearance and disappearance, not birth and death. We are forced to take birth. But he is not forced to take birth. He comes to this world by his sweet will. But in the spiritual world, there is no Janmashtami. Because in the spiritual world, there is no birth. So something is here in this material world which is not there in the spiritual world. Sanatana Goswami said that childhood pastimes of Krishna are only in this Bhoma Vrindavan. The appearance of Lord Krishna in this world is also not available in the spiritual world. So coming to the point that is very, very difficult to understand that inconceivable aspect of eternity. That it was always there, it is always there, and it will be always there. How it is possible? That's why it is known as inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So who can understand God? Who has faith in this inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By our brain, by our calculations, by our assumptions, by our speculations, we cannot understand the position or understand who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why taking shelter is a normal propensity, natural propensity. So when child is born, she takes shelter of mother. He or she takes shelter of the mother. When he or she grows further, then shelter shifts from the mother to father, because he or she needs money, no? Certain things are not available with the mother, so he goes to the father. Then when he grows further, he understands that ultimately father, mother, if there is some attack in the house, neither father nor mother can help. He has to call up police. So we need the protection of the police. Then when we know further, we come to know that police is also working under the leaders, the political leaders, ministers. So he takes shelter of the ministers. But when the natural calamities take place, tsunami, earthquake, flood, drought, famine, all these things when happens is beyond the ministers, is controlled by the demigods. Then people turn to take shelter of the demigods. Then we hear in Shastra that demigods also face difficulty, demons. They attack demigods, they run away from the heavenly planets, and they take shelter of Vishnu at the shore of milk ocean. Then ultimately, we understand that Vishnu is the ultimate shelter. So, taking shelter is the natural propensity of every living entity. But ultimately, who can give shelter? Krishna can give the shelter. So we can have other shelter, but that is not our real shelter. Why we are in anxiety? Because we don't feel protected. Why we are having difficulty in life? Because we don't feel maintained. But when we have the experience of protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and when we have complete faith that Krishna will protect us at every aspect of life, then there is no question of anxiety. See the life of the Pandavas. Pandavas, they are fearless. Anxiety gives fear, or fear is the cause of anxiety, whatever. But when we have complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have no anxiety and we are fearless. And fear is a great obstacle. Yesterday we discussed also that fear cannot give the chance, because it's the obstacle to experience the happiness and bliss in our life. So Pandavas, they are in big and serious calamities, still they are happy. And I narrate a story in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, that Bhishma Pitama took a vow that tomorrow he will kill all the Pandavas. He took a vow. And that news went to Krishna at night. Pandavas were sleeping because no anxiety. They don't need sleeping pill even in the battlefield. They are in a peaceful mode. But Krishna was in anxiety. So I always tell, if you want to be a leader, you have a life of anxiety. And if you have a life of follower, you will be blissful. So who has the greatest anxiety? Krishna, because he is the leader of all living entities. Great anxiety he has. So he was in anxiety, what to do, how to save the Pandavas. He went to the camp of the Pandavas. Pandavas are resting, relaxed. He woke them up. He said, you are sleeping so nicely, no problem, looks like. He said, why? What's the problem? He said, Bhishma took a vow. What vow he took? He took a vow to kill all of you tomorrow. He said, oh, really? It's a good news. He said, why good news? He said that death will come anyway. One day we have to be dead. And in the battlefield, any moment we can be killed. But it's nice that it will be killed by Bhishma Pitama. It's glorious. I said, thank you very much. And they again were on sleep. But Krishna was in anxiety. He said, you are so happy, but what will happen to me? That I came, I appeared on this planet to establish Dharma. And I can establish Dharma only through you. And if you are killed, then how I will be able to establish Dharma? Then Pandavas said, that's your headache. That's not our headache. So they slept. But Krishna was in anxiety, what to do? The vow is not an ordinary vow. Vow of Bhishma Pitama means it is going to happen. Nobody can change it. So Krishna was thinking what to do, so he went to the camp of Draupadi. Draupadi at night, Krishna came, he said, what happened? He said, let's go to the camp of Bhishma. He said, why? He said, don't ask question. So let us go, and when you go there, you just offer obeisances and ask for blessings from Bhishma Dev. I said, okay. So both of them went. Bhishma saw Krishna with Draupadi at night in my camp. Something is going to happen. He knew. So Draupadi offered obeisances to Bhishma Pitama, and Bhishma Pitama naturally, out of love and affection, gave the blessing, Saubhagyavati Bhava. And by hearing that, Krishna was smiling. He said, Vishnu Pitama, you have to take a decision. Which vow or which blessing you want to keep? Today I heard that you took a vow that you will kill all the Pandavas tomorrow. But now you are giving blessings to Draupadi that she will be Saubhagyavati. How both can happen? And Bhishma understood what Krishna wants, and Krishna took care of the situation. That is the protection of Krishna. So when we have that feeling of complete protection, then there is no question of anxiety. So I think I told a story also, is a modern story. So a flight was in air turbulence, and it's a big disturbance. Pilot announced also, and all the passengers were in anxiety, what is going to happen, plane is going to crash. So shouting, screaming out of fear of death. So one man was sitting next to him, there was a small child, one girl, totally aloof from the whole situation. And she was playing, taking rest, playing games, no anxiety at all, completely free from any anxiety. Whole flight was full of anxiety, all the passengers were in big anxiety. So somehow the flight landed and nobody died. So that man was in, then all the passengers were in big jubilation, oh wow, we survived, we are alive now, very happy. But that girl was same consciousness, happy. So that man approached that girl, that how come, my dear girl, that we are all in anxiety, but you are a small girl, you do not have any anxiety and totally completely aloof from the whole situation. How come? He said, my dear uncle, that why I will be in anxiety? Because the pilot of the flight is my father. So that is our situation. We are flying, but we have to decide who will be the pilot of our life. So when we accept Krishna as the pilot of our flight, there is no question of any anxiety, like the small girl. But why we are in anxiety? Because we think we are the pilot of our own life. That's why so much anxiety. So this is very, very important message, that in order to be free from the influence of time, in order to be free from the fear of life, we have to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have to learn that. One day or other, we have to come to this platform to have that conviction and faith that Krishna is the protector of our life. That is called taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. Then I internalize the consciousness. This material existence, especially this modern world, is completely focusing on the externals, upgrading the external situation of life. But human life is meant to internalize our consciousness. We should divert our attention from external to internal. We are so much attached to the externals which are visible. Which are visible, we become attracted to them. That's why we are attracted to the external beauty. We are attracted to the different gadgets. We are attracted to the beautiful cars. We are attracted to the beautiful houses. Externals. So much externals, right? Beautiful dresses, we become attracted. Looks. We are all attracted by externals. But we have to understand that external is dependent on the internal. The quality of the external is strongly connected with the internal. We see the fruits of the tree, but we don't see the root. But unless root is properly nourished, the tree cannot give fruits. But we are not interested in root. We are only interested in fruit. That is the modern civilization. Just like building. Now we are building a beautiful cultural complex, the temple. The main thing of the building, the strength of the building is dependent on the foundation, which is not visible. The root is not visible. Fruits are visible. The building is visible, but the foundation of the building is not visible. But the whole existence of the building is dependent on the foundation of the building, which is invisible. We have to invest lot of energy, lot of money, lot of materials in the foundation, then that foundation can sustain the building for a long time. You may say, no, why to waste our time, waste our money in foundation? We can start from the, where? We can, from the ground level you can start. You can do that. Nobody can stop you. Yes, the government will stop you, but hypothetically, nobody will stop you. But what will happen to the building? Building will collapse. In the same way, spirituality, the internal values of life, they are like the foundation of our life, the root of the tree. If those values, those ethics are not properly nourished, then our life is guaranteed to collapse. And that's what is happening in the modern society, because we are not investing any energy, any time, and giving no attention to our internal value system, and we are completely focused on externals, and because of that the whole human society is collapsing. So there is a great need to step back and think that why is happening, and the reason is that we are very, very weak internally. The disease of the modern world is not the disease of the body. The disease of the modern society is the disease of the mind. The chronic disease. And it's also affecting India like anything. The youth of India, the children of India, the adults of India are highly affected by this problem, the global problem, the internal problems. For small reasons, people can handle any problem because there is no stability within. If we don't have the stability, then we also don't have the ability to handle situations. Why the ability of the individuals to handle the challenges in life is very low? Because they don't have internal stability. Stability gives you the ability. But nowadays, the stability is very low. That's why small reason people commit suicides. Small reasons. I was hearing that some IIT student, he was topper in all the semester, last semester he became second. He committed suicide. In America, if the teacher says something to a child in the classroom, they take a gun and shoot the teacher and kill them. If the parents in the Western country chastise the child, they call the police. That is the system, there is a law. In America, if you chastise your child, your own child, those who dream to go to America, this is news for you. And maybe some of you are aware also, because now it's globally connected. Because we are from ISKCON, Mayapur, we are very much connected with the whole world. So I get all the news. So one family was there, Indian family with a big hope, went to America to settle down there. But their child was very naughty. And the boy used to create a lot of trouble, and they wanted to discipline that boy, and boy used to tell, my dear father, if you do that, I'll call the police. He knew the law of the country, and the parents were frustrated, and the father decided, no more America, let's go back to India. Mera Bharat Mohan, India is great. So he came back, landed at Mumbai airport, and as soon as they landed, the child started his behavior, and the father slapped on his face and told, call the police. Welcome to India. So point I am trying to make, that is very difficult for individual to handle difficult situations. Small arguments, divorce. Small things. Right? And I was hearing one brahmachari wanted to get married. He said, why? Guru Maharaj asked. He said, because I cannot sleep. Why you cannot sleep? Because so many people and they snore. By the sound of the snore, I cannot sleep. And then Guru Maharaj asked, what's the guarantee that your wife will not snore? Then what you will do? Now you gave up the brahmachari ashram, then maybe you have to give up your wife also. And it happens. There's divorce cases. Why? Because husband or wife snores, they cannot sleep, there's a divorce petition in the court. That is the reality of life. What to talk about? Sound. Sound is very important. So that kind of sound disturbs the mind. And Prabhupada said, if there are two utensils, make sound, right? Two utensils. If there will be two human beings, definitely there will be more sound. And Prabhupada said, husband, wife, if they don't make sound, they are not really husband and wife, some problem. Just like if the child is born and does not cry, problem. If Prabhuji, nothing happens, means problem. There is going to be some sound. So that's why you always say that sound should be inside the house. Before marriage, There is a common example. The boy speaks, the girl hears. After marriage, wife speaks, husband hears, and after a few years, both of them speak. Neighbors hear, but nowadays not only neighbors, the judge of the court also hears. Our argument goes to the court. That is the reality of life, because we don't have any stability. That's why we are not able to handle the difficult situations of life. So in order to handle the difficulties, because difficulties will be there in our life, because this life is difficult life. This material existence is very, very difficult. So in order to handle the difficult situation, we have to change the internal thing. Internal change is within our control. But our expectation is that whole world should change except me. That is the problem. But the whole world only will change provided we change. So on this special moment of this juncture of 2018 and 19, we should take a resolution, a New Year resolution, that instead of expecting change from others, we should change ourselves internally. The value system has to change. The life will change when our value system will change. So Krishna consciousness, the spirituality is all about changing our value system. So I represent, internalize the consciousness. When we internalize our consciousness, then mind will be able to meditate on spirituality. And that's why M means meditation, meditate on the Supreme Lord. Very, very important. Because absorption gives you satisfactions. Unless you are absorbed, we cannot be happy. So, any successful person in any field of life, he is absorbed in that activity. In the same way, in order to be happy and experience bliss in our life, we have to be absorbed. And how we can be absorbed? By meditating on the Supreme Lord. Meditation. Meditation means thinking about the Lord, and that is the essence of all rules and regulations of spiritual life. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Meditation. And when you will be meditating on the Supreme Lord, you will be happy. Santushta Atma. A devotee is always satisfied. And how will be satisfied? When the mind is away from sense objects. The more mind will be away from sense object, more will experience happiness. And more we stay away from the sense objects, then mind will be focusing more on the spiritual objects, the Supreme Lord, and mind will be fixed. Stability of the mind. How mind can be stable? Now mind is flickering. Mind is acting like pendulum, moving, and is dwelling either in the past or in the future. That is the nature of the mind. I could have done better. I could have done this. I could have done that. What's the point of lamenting for the past? Don't cry. Try. We always spend our time crying. I could have done this. I could have done that. What's the point of talking that? There is nothing wrong to make mistake. But if we don't learn from the mistake, then mistakes again will happen. Repetition of mistake is not good. So therefore we have to learn from the mistake. We should not cry. We should try to learn from the mistake and apply those learning in our life. Then life will be prosperous, progressive. Otherwise, we will be always in depression mode. Depression. Enthusiasm will not be there. How we can be enthusiastic in our life when we are free from depression and we have to dwell in the present moment? Planning is needed, but if you always plan but don't execute that in life, then what is the use of planning? So what do? We always lament for the past and plan for the future and become inactive and don't act because our mind will not allow to act because mind is acting like pendulum. So therefore mind has to be focused in the present, and how it will be possible? When we focus our mind on the Supreme Lord. And Krishna has advised Arjuna, you can fight with your body, but mind should be on me. The success, satisfaction, whatever we do is not dependent on our external activity. Arjuna was experiencing love of Godhead. People may think, Prabhu, how Arjuna was in meditation? He was not chanting japa. The whole day he was fighting. Because he was a Kshatriya, for him japa is fighting. But his fight was not ordinary fight. He was completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, because although he was fighting with his senses and body, his mind was completely focused on the Supreme Lord. So therefore, the quality of our service does not depend on our external expertise. The quality of our service depends on where is our mind. Consciousness. So externals are not the determining factor of progress of spiritual life, is internal. So therefore we have to internalize our consciousness, and then we can meditate on the Supreme Lord, and then mind will be fixed and we can be very, very enthusiastic in our service to the Supreme Lord. And the last one, which is very, very important, all these things can happen when we engage ourselves in hearing. Hearing is the only way to wake us up from the slumber. Jiv jago. How we can be awake? Only by the process of hearing. Very, very important. That's why Krishna has given us two ears and one mouth. Mouth should be closed and ears should be open. But in the modern society, it is opposite. Ears are always closed, mouth is always open. People like to talk, talk, talk and talk. Gossips. They don't like to hear. So therefore, we have to change our pattern of life from talking to hearing. More we have good hearing, then we can have good talking. So talking, what we talk depends on what we hear. What? Step. Then hearing will have impact in our internal consciousness when we will have quality hearing. One kind of hearing is that they hear from one ear and goes out through other ear. And people crack joke. Is Khan se us Khan, iska naam ISKCON. So hear from one ear and passing through other ear. That kind of hearing has no impact in our life. Another kind of hearing, that we hear, why you want to hear? Because we want to speak. Repeat. So, itna acha lecture diya. What a good lecture. I will hear and repeat as it is. That is the purpose of hearing. That's better than the first level, but that is not the real hearing. Hearing should be done to bring the sound vibration through the ear to the heart. Then transformation will take place. So transformation will take place in our heart when the sound vibration goes to the heart. So real hearing is when we hear with rapt attention and the sound vibration goes to the heart. So in that way, if we can continue our journey in our next year based on these 4 principles. What are those 4 principles? T. Take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Internalize the consciousness. Meditate on the Supreme Lord and engage in hearing. Then we can be free from the influence of time. Then we can go beyond 2018, go beyond 2019, go beyond any time, any year of this world, and enter into the eternal kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where everything is new, ever fresh, is not going to be old by the process of time. So how this can be? Everything can be new. New is also an acronym that can also be applied in our life. N means never give up. E, enlighten others in Krishna consciousness. And W means welcome the Lord in our life. So in that way, if we can celebrate our new year, then new year will remain always new, and we can enter into the spiritual world where everything is new and ever fresh, and we can experience newer and newer happiness at every moment which we are hankering for, and that will be the great success in our spiritual life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. 18. Yes, Mataji, mic is available.
Prabhuji, you said that, I know you said we have to have faith, but there's the Bhagavad Gita, I don't know the sloka. It says, Krishna says that there was never a time when you didn't exist and I didn't exist. So how would you explain that thing when we say Krishna Raja? How would you explain that he was the first born, and then when he says that there was never a time when you didn't exist and I didn't exist? So how would you explain that?
What point?
Krishna being the first.
Krishna?
Being Aja.
Krishna is also Aja, we are also Aja in the spiritual world.
So how will then he is the supreme? How will you explain?
Because it's called Achinta, inconceivable potency. Although Krishna was there all the time, we are also there. But Chaitanya Charitamrita explains Krishna was alone. And he was one, from one he became two. Radha and Krishna. Then in that way expansion took place for our understanding. It's eternally we are there, but the source of our eternal existence is Krishna. It's very difficult to understand. That's why it's inconceivable. Although we are also there eternally, Lord is also there eternally, but Lord is the source of everything. You understand? Very difficult to understand. That's why it is inconceivable. Because in this world, everything is relative. Before, after. But in the spiritual world, everything is existing since time immemorial. But at the same time, Krishna is the whole. We are the part. That's the difference. He is the Lord, Master, we are the servant. There's a difference. There is no qualitatively no difference, but quantitatively difference. Just like the ocean, a drop of ocean water and ocean, no difference, but there is a big difference. In the same way, although Krishna and we all were existing or are existing eternally, but Lord is the source of everything, because He is the cause of everything. And He is the master, He is the whole, we are the part and parcel. Qualitatively no difference, but quantitatively there is a difference. Okay?
objects. We experience happiness.
And satisfaction. Happiness, yeah, happiness and satisfaction, yes.
How we experience happiness.
Huh?
Mind is away from some subjects, how we experience happiness.
Because when you keep away mind from the sense objects, then you connect the mind with the spirituality, because mind cannot be inactive. So the point we are trying to make, when you take away the mind from the sense object, then naturally that is called yoga. Then you connect the mind with the Supreme Lord. And more you connect the mind with the Supreme Lord, more you experience happiness. That is the secret of happiness, connection. So when we connect our senses, mind with the sense objects, we experience frustration. But when the same mind is connected with the Lord, we experience happiness. Yeah, happiness, bliss, whatever you said. It's a difference. There is a meaning, there is a difference in happiness and bliss also, technically. But it's the same we are talking now. Okay? CAR. Yes. You forgot? That's why I can speak the same lecture again and again. No. C means change the changeable. A, accept the unchangeable. R, rise above the unchangeable. This is the car principle of life. So any other question? Yes.
The time and karma related. So one thing is that we are eternally present with the Lord in the spiritual world, and there is no time in that position. But once we fall down, then like time and karma interacts with each other to create situations. So like my question is, how are they interrelated? Like, time and karma.
Time and karma. How they are interrelated. The time controls everything. Time factor. Time is a form of the Lord. So when everything is taken away by the process of time. Okay? Our body will be taken away. Our all possessions will be taken away. Because we will be taken out from the existing condition. That is the activity of the time. Time changes everything. And how karma? Karma controls everything. Whatever we do, that will determine our future. If we act in a certain way, and accordingly we will get the future. That is karma. Karma means action. Whatever we do now, we will get the result in the future. So in that way, future means Kal. Kal, time takes away the present and puts you in the future. Again, puts the future into past, again present into the future, like that, right? So it's in that way it is connected. And what kind of situation you will be in, that is determined by your karma. Definitely your present moment will be taken away by Kal. But what will be your destiny in the future will be determined by your karma. So in that way it is connected. Okay? Hare Krishna.
You said in spiritual world that time is serving God. So isn't the time serving material world?
If we serve, then we are in the spiritual world.
Time is not serving you.
No. It's external energy here. We are engaging the time in our sense gratification. That's why we have to be influenced by time. Eternity. We cannot experience eternity here. because we are not engaging the time in the service of the Lord. But when we are constantly engaged in the service, then we are free from the influence of time. Because Krishna takes control of our life. But time is also Krishna, but he takes control in a different way. Just like what I have explained. The time here takes away everything. And in spiritual, time gives you everything. There's a difference. So we have to make a choice. You want the time will give us everything or time will take away everything? Depending on our usage, how we are using our time. If we engage our time in temporary thing, then it will be taken away. And when we engage our time in eternity, then everything will be provided. Okay? Little deep topic, but we are trying to understand. Okay? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.